Hello and welcome to Faultlines. I'm your host Shahzad Raza. After winning a battle against India and successful Operation Bunyan and Marsoos, Pakistan is now fighting another war, now at the diplomatic front. India constituted almost 7 committees comprising different political leaders, including members of the Congress whom Narendra Modi hated so much in the past, but now he's seeking help from Congress as well. So that those committees would visit, according to the Indian government, all over the world and put forward the Indian false narrative. They drumbeat whatever BJP would tell them or already told them. In response, Pakistan has also constituted a high-powered delegation comprising different political leaders headed by former Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari to visit important world capitals and expose the Indian lies and also present the case of Pakistan. In fact, in Pakistan, Indian involvement is very, very visible. In the past, we arrested one of their serving raw agents, Kulbhushan Yadav, who was involved in several acts of terror inside Pakistan. Whatever India is doing in Pakistan, especially in Balochistan, is known to everyone. Pakistan shared dossier of information against India, including what they did in Balochistan, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and other parts of the country. India was using those proxies, the TTP, whom now we know as the Fitna al-Khawarij, and other terrorist outfits who are conducted their acts of terror in Pakistan. And now the time has come that Pakistan would expose them, every one of them, all over the world in front of the world community. World community already know this fact, but right now the time is ripe, as Field Marshal General Asim Munir rightly pointed out, and he also appreciated the role of media in fighting this war and putting across the narrative of Pakistan, keeping the hopes and the morale of the nation alive. And he also appreciated the political leadership for showing magnanimity, and now both the civil and military leadership, they are on the same page, and now we have one big common enemy, India. But at the same time, while India was committing mistake after mistake, it once again internationalized the issue of Jammu and Kashmir. And now even President Donald Trump has offered to mediate between Pakistan and India to resolve the decades-old disputed issue. So we believe that in near future all these disputes would be resolved. Pakistan always supported that all the disputes should be resolved at the dialogue table, not at the war. But when India undertook that misadventure against Pakistan, it had to bite the dust, and Pakistani brave soldiers, they showed India what exactly we are capable of. This is what we are going to discuss in this program, and we are being joined in the studio Dr. Ijaz Bhatti, a known academic, and you have seen her on the televisions time and again. Thank you so much, Dr. Ijaz Bhatti, for your time. AVM Ijaz Malik is also with us on the video link. Thank you very much, AVM Saab, for your time as well. Dr. Saab, to you first. Now, India, of course, would increase its diplomatic effort to embarrass Pakistan and also drumbeat its false narrative, its propaganda against our country. But on the other hand, we are also mindful of the fact this time, and we are also approaching the world community. But how different it would be this time? But in the past, India, because of its size, the jingoistic media, resources, and good diplomatic economic relation with other countries, always managed to take the lead. But you think that it is going to be different this time?
Absolutely, this is going to be different this time. Reason being that the strategic collaboration and the strategic smartness and the maturity to analyze the whole scenario, the conflict we have been facing since 2 months specifically, the maturity of the Pakistan to deal all those critical circumstances, it has been marvelous. And I think around the world it has been highly acknowledgeable and highly admirable. And on the other hand, when we look into the behavior India was into, the way they were doing the all jingoism and the way they were talking about more and more fight, and they were hitting the civilian aspects as well. So this was actually very tragic for the whole international community, and they were not supporting the whole idea of their so-called they had this Operation Sindoor. And anyways, now we fast forward, we look into, there are some kind of analysis, they are saying that there could be Operation Sindoor too, but they cannot I mean, is it possible for India to face another humiliation? This is not possible. Now they are going toward the non-kinetic type of, their escalation, and that non-kinetic escalation is basically, it is related to all this hybrid warfare. It is all related to the cyber attacks. It is related to how they are having the close alliance with all those insurgents active in Balochistan and in KP, and how they are funding it, and this is highly condemnable. And can you believe there are so many even Indian writers, they are exposing their ideology. And there is one of the very famous writer that he's a full professor at University of London. His name is Abhinash Paliwal, and he wrote a book on enemy of my enemy. And in that book he mentioned several times that how India has been active through Afghanistan and taking care of all the insurgent elements in Pakistan to create all the hassle. And now we come on to toward the diplomatic front, what kind of behavior Pakistan should adopt. So Pakistan is already having a winning situation, because we have completely explained our stance that we are not, we had that restraint policy initially, and we are not a kind of warmongering state. We want a stable peace, a table talk, but India was not happy with that. And now once we are going toward the diplomatic talk, I think this is a very good idea, and we are already have proven ourselves a very smart and mature and very responsible state. Those who are the nuclear power, yet they are keeping the idea of restraint on the first place, and later we had that retaliation, but it was a very calculated, very calibrated and very mature reaction.
From Pakistan, of
Yes.
course. AVM Saab, world knows what India is and was capable of doing. What happened in Canada, how they, conducted state-sponsored, assassination of one of the Sikh leaders, what they did in the United States of America, what their activities were in Australia. I mean, leave Pakistan aside. I mean, they've been doing all sort of act of terror in Pakistan. So the world knows the fact. They already have the evidence with them that what India was doing in their own countries. So what exactly our delegation is going to tell the world? They already know the facts, so we are just going to urge them that now the time has come to take some sort of concrete action against India, or no?
Well, the problem was known to everybody. The only difference post this Operation Sindoor and then Pakistan's response, a successful response, which is actually a defining chapter in our history, particularly vis-a-vis our relationship with India, our stance and support for the core issue of Kashmir. So this time, while previously there were proof of within India, the terrorist acts against their own minorities. What would you call Operation Golden Temple? What would you call various operations being done in illegally occupied Kashmir? So they were terrorism, state terrorism within their own country. And then cross-border terrorism, proof we have. I mean, the living proof is serving Indian naval officer Kulbhushan Yadav in our custody. The dossiers have been handed over. But the problem was the world, because of their own economic interest with India, they ignored that. Now, internationally, because of the transnational terrorism in Canada and same planning of assassination of a Sikh leader in United States, the world was sensitized. And then came this operation post Pahalgam. Now world realized that the insanity which prevails in Delhi would, put not only the people of India and Pakistan in threat, but this entire region, the Southeast Asia security depends on harnessing India's jingoism and India's irrational approach towards problems. which are
But do you
essentially
see any?
political.
You are absolutely right. But sir, I mean, after facing humiliating defeat in the hands of brave Pakistani soldiers, do you think that there is any possibility that world is also exerting pressure, but India would really come to the dialogue table? And if at all it comes to the dialogue table, it would come with total sincerity, that it would come for a meaningful discussion to resolve the dispute, or it is going to be just another eye wash, or it would shy away from the dialogue process as it
You know,
always did in the past.
yes, actually, giving an indication to come on dialogue table was just a rescue measure to get out of that situation in which India was caught, I would say, so badly because of very bold operation by Pakistan armed forces. The world intervened on request of India. Previously, even America was not very keen to jump into this conflict. But world intervened, and so far as President Trump is concerned, is very keen, and he is showing a lot of interest towards putting two rivals on negotiation table, not much to the India's liking. So I
All
would
right, sir.
say sir, the outcome of the dialogue would depend on how effectively America or United Kingdom they promote this cause. That is very important.
They play a role. Dr. Bhatti, the thing is, many analysts who understands the psyche of BJP and Narendra Modi, they believe that India is just, and BJP in fact, and Modi and his cabinet, they are just buying time. They are just trying to get out of the embarrassment they were handed over to by Pakistan. Now after getting this phase over, they would again start behaving in a manner as they were before Operation Sindoor or on the day of Operation Sindoor. So do you think that India is just buying time to get out of the embarrassment they are having at the moment, or no?
Yes, indeed. They are buying time because time and again we have seen in the history that India has always trying to bring the same topic of the Kashmir and same false narrative related to the Pakistan in the form of terrorism. Sometimes it's the cross-border violations, just to fulfill the narrative of the hyper nationalism among their own nation. Because it's commonly we said that foreign policy basically are foreign for the other nations, but in actuality the foreign policy is always based on the domestic narratives.
True.
So if you want to make a domestic narrative that powerful, so that then you have to make the foreign policy according to it. So in BJP's ideology, that is purely a saffron ideology based on hyper nationalism, based on Hindutva policy. They are feeding it to their people, and now is the time that the people are asking for the return.
Of
it's
course.
just like the Hitler, the Hitler used to feed all those anti agenda to his own Nazi people, and in return then they asked about, okay, what's in for us now? And then such kind of leaders, those who are hyper nationalist in their ideology, for a shorter period of time they can win the popularity, but in the longer period of time they actually become the prisoners of their own words, because they cannot fulfill all the demands of the hyper nationalist people. They are trapped into it.
But history is replete with example that such leaders, they ended up destroying the entire nation.
Exactly, yes. That's what I'm coming toward, that eventually that they destroyed themselves and along with the whole nation. So I think now this time they are not going to go for another that Operation Sindoor 2, because they have faced a maximum humiliation, and then they have faced the maximum economic setback as well.
But do you see any possibility of dialogue in near future?
Third party mediation is possible, because obviously the international pressure is there. We have seen that, although they are denying, but the pressure was there from so many Pakistani friendly states. There is one good, we always say there is somehow blessing in disguise, and in this issue we are blessed and come out with very good friends. We are so much strong in our diplomatic arena, although there was always a hassle from India to make Pakistan isolated diplomatically, but we came out of it successfully, and we have got so many good friends around us and very trustworthy. So, and on diplomatic level, Pakistan is not alone. On the same diplomatic friends of Pakistan, definitely they are going to bring India on the table. But on what terms and conditions, we have to look into it, because obviously, again, the BJP cannot lose their own people. Those them they are feeding the hyper nationalist agenda. So it's a kind of very complex situation for them.
AVM Saab, in the past, we saw the world, in fact, the important world powers which always sided with India against Pakistan, they tend to buy the Indian narrative whenever there is a false flag operation inside India or any other attack. But the question is, this time, after Pahalgam false flag operation, the world leaders, many of them, they were very close to Narendra Modi. As President Donald Trump, he always calls Mr. Modi as his friend. But they did not subscribe to the Indian narrative this time after Pahalgam operation. Why it happened? I mean, was that a success of Pakistan's strong, putting of the narrative and the diplomatic, offensive much before the Operation Bunyan and Marsoos?
Well, the response from Washington, it started initially as per the normal previous, trends. But situation dramatically changed once India unilaterally, exercised the option of kinetic application onto civilian targets in Pakistan. So after that, it suddenly came on the top priority of international community in general and that of United States in particular. And then Pakistan's stance towards the resolution of the issue, Pahalgam issue, Pakistan on all forums very proactively pleaded her case that there should be an immediate, impartial international inquiry, and then some, remedial measures can be taken after Pahalgam incidents. But India, instead of acceding to that offer, that very generous offer of Pakistan, India resorted to, taking down civilian targets deep inside Pakistan. So Pakistan's response and resolve brought in the international players, and then obviously what happened later on, that's the outcome of the very, I would say, irresponsible and aggressive initiative by India. So this time, world is in favor of Pakistan, because despite being nuclear capable, Pakistan tried to, retard or decelerate the very fast pace on which India was going up on the escalation ladder. So this time around, realistically speaking, the world did not side with India. I would not say they totally sided with Pakistan, but they did not side with India initially. So even the position of neutrality was in our favor. But then subsequently, support for Pakistan started to increase, and we should not forget the unequivocal, stance of China. That was a
Of
catalyst.
China and of course other brotherly friendly countries, they also
like
contributed a lot. AVM Saab, I'm almost done with the first half of my show, but last question to you, Dr. Bhatti. The question is, don't you think that really was a master stroke by Pakistan, that we asked India, whatever evidence you have, share with us, or if you are interested, get this incident investigated by any other country, any other investigative, and we also demanded the neutral, transparent inquiry into Pahalgam false flag operation. But they never listened to the argument. They never shared any sort of evidence, and after minutes after the incidents, they started hurling allegations against Pakistan.
Yes, because they didn't have any evidences on the first part. So how can you show them the evidences? They were not having any kind of evidences. It was just the false accusations on the Pakistan. And this time they were thinking that the world is again going to buy this whole agenda, but world didn't, because we are living in a world where everything is on our touch screen, and you can get anything you can even look into the evidences of all the news that is coming to you. So this is the one thing. And the second is from the same incidents, here comes the credibility of India being shaken, because the world, evenly I have seen so many international officials, they were asking, okay, let's go for the evidences, but they cannot just go into the narrative, or they just cannot go into the officials telling about, okay, this kind of evidences are there, but they were not there, one thing. And the second thing is that the type of maturity and the smartness and the type of sincerity toward the diplomatic norms Pakistan showed, it was really such a kind of activity that changed the world's heart. And then later Pakistan haven't touched any of their civilian facilities. Pakistan, its retaliation was specific to the military arsenals. It was specific to the, I would say, a very well calculated response. And that was something, yes. And it is somehow, the nations are always built during their tough times, and we come out of it as a nation, a very strong nation, and that's world is witness to it.
Rightly said, Dr. Bhatti, that we came out as a nation after that incident, and in fact India provided us with an opportunity to once again show the world that how resilient the Pakistani nation is. Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Bhatti. Thank you so much, AVM Ijaz Malik, for your time. Viewers, we'll take a short break here, and when we come back, we will have Dr. Samar Mubarakmand, Pakistan's nuclear scientist and former chairman of NASCOM, with us. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the program. We have with us renowned Pakistani nuclear scientist and former chairman of NASCOM, Dr. Samar Mubarakmand. Thank you so much, Dr. Sir, for your time.
Welcome. You're welcome.
Dr. Sir, you contributed a lot in your illustrious career to make Pakistan's defense impregnable. How would you see and how you feel when we recently defeated a much larger enemy?
Naturally, it's a moment of great satisfaction, and I think it's a turning point in our history. This was always at the back of my mind when I joined the Atomic Energy Commission as a young scientist at the age of 24, and I started working on this program actively. So we worked on it for 3-4 decades before we got a chance to reach the nuclear threshold. As you say, we were able to do the tests at 7 days notice in 1998. But all my life, this is what I learned was that it is the hand of providence which is behind the person. You are not, you don't come out of the blue and you do something and to achieve something big. If I give me a time, I can recall that when I was in school, I made a choice whether I should take up science as a subject in college or medical studies and so on. And then at that time, my father, who was very active, he was a philosopher and a professor and very close to Dr. Allama Iqbal. He said to me that the difference between India and Pakistan is 1:4. And the manpower they have, and the army they have, everything, the resources they have. So this can only be balanced if you make Pakistan a nuclear state. And when you become a nuclear state, and they are already a nuclear state because they became a nuclear state in 1974. So then only with nuclear weapons the balance of power can be restored, because there the numbers don't count. If you have enough nuclear weapons to hit the enemy beyond their tolerance level, then that's good enough. So this was the aim, which was the guidance given to us. And when I went for my PhD to Oxford in experimental nuclear physics, I didn't know what was going on and what will be required of me in future. But by chance, my supervisor gave me a topic for which was involving measurement of energy of fast neutrons. And well, I did my PhD in that, and I published my papers in that. And when I came back to the Atomic Energy Commission, and the nuclear program was in full swing, the first thing that I was tasked with was to prepare myself to conduct the core tests of the atom bombs. In a core test, you don't have enriched uranium in the core, you have natural uranium. So when you detonate the full complete nuclear device, what you expect is, if the design is perfect, that a burst of neutrons will come out of it. And you have to count how many they are and measure the energy. And there I was, I had done my PhD in that, and without my any future knowledge of what I was going to, what was going to be expected.
Exactly. I will ask in detail, I mean, the memories you have of your early career and later on. But nuclear deterrence is one thing, but in the recent battle or war, whatever you call it, we established our superiority against the enemy with much larger resources and capabilities and everything. So what makes us superior in that particular?
I want to know that there is, with nuclear weapons, the psychology of the two combatants changes.
Right.
You are treating each other as more or less at par with each other.
Okay.
If the crunch time comes, you are at par. So before the crunch time, there is a conventional war, of course. And in conventional war, you know, when we made the nuclear weapons, we were in need of having a delivery system. And so in 1995, I was entrusted by the army chief at that time, General Kakar, to go build a missile delivery system for Pakistan. So having worked on that for 3-4 years, we produced the first Shaheen 1. In 1999, we had a test of Shaheen 1, successful test, and then subsequently we had Shaheen 2 and Shaheen. So all the delivery systems came up gradually, and the demand was always being raised by the our defense analysts and special strategic plans division and so on. Whatever the country needed, the scientists were trying to produce that. And we have always been very lucky, because I feel that the success of our work is based heavily on the intellect of our people. Our human resource is excellent, and people would like to easily say that maybe our friends helped us, maybe somebody else helped us, we got technology of some. No, it's not that.
We heard a lot of such
nobody
stories.
Nobody will gives you that technology at all. At best, if you need any machines to manufacture something, you can. If you can't buy from the West, you can buy from your friends. But that's beyond, what you will never get. We have never been given active help in our nuclear program or missile program. It has all come from the brains of our own scientists and engineers. And I made sure from the very beginning that the education, relevant education, is imparted to our teams in NESCOM. And they go and do their PhD in the right fields, so that when they can come back, they are as close to the requirements as they can, so that when the crunch time comes, they can produce what we want.
So it is true, and we can safely say that the Pakistan's missile program is 100% indigenous, prepared by our own nuclear and other scientists.
Yes, absolutely. No doubt about this.
And the way we hit the enemy in the recent battle and our missiles, they played a very critical role.
This was just the baby of our missile program. The Fateh 1 is a 140 kilometer range missile, and it's meant for conventional wars. Of course, it can carry nuclear warheads. It's a small missile in diameter. And in range, it's not compared to Shaheen 3, which goes to 3,000 kilometers. We make all the whole range of missiles and the cruise missiles for second strike capability and so on. But this missile is the one in the shortest range bracket. But all of our missiles, they have an extremely accurate and reliable performance. Their accuracy is fantastic. Initially, we were told that they will carry nuclear warheads, and the warhead can destroy 1 kilometer right and 1 kilometer left. And the big effective radius is very large diameter radius, and so that you don't need that kind of an accuracy. So initially, we produced missiles with this thing in mind. But then later on, our scientists and engineers in the missile program, they produced remarkably accurate missiles, and so all the old missiles produced, they were also have been brought up to that level now.
Exactly. So they can hit the target with precision.
So now you can use conventional warhead. You can ask our cruise missile to fly 1,000 kilometers and then enter a specific window of a big building. You can come; it will come through that window. It will not come to the next other window. They're so accurate.
And one thing that surprised many all over the world is the way we, jam their air defense system, the way our missiles were so much precise and they penetrated into their defense system. That was surprising for Indians and rest of the world. How it happened?
It happened because, first of all, we, as you must have heard on television also, our Air Force has spent a lot of effort on cyber and IT defenses, on the internet artificial intelligence systems. And so all this jamming and breaking through their cyber networks and controlling the ground power stations, controlling the dam gates. They could even open the gates of the dams and open water for your rivers. So this was a fantastic job done by the Air Force IT team. And we have to acknowledge that they're not just flying planes for us, but they have done wonders with the electronics and with the jamming systems. And I was, when this was going on, I was personally watching how the drones from the Indian side were being intercepted. And there was a system developed by NASCOM, my own organization, which I created, and it was in operation and system. And on the laptop, I could see a drone coming in, and then the team was there, and the jamming systems were on the ground. So when the drone came on within the range of the jamming system, they switched on the jamming system. The drone was flying directly towards the target. Suddenly it started fluttering right and left, and then it just dropped like a stone to the ground. I saw that happen again and again for several drones. And this was a great satisfaction. The NASCOM team was also excellent in this work.
Exactly.
So they were handling the drones very well.
Yes. So one question on nuclear deterrence. It's proved that for the last 3 decades or so, the deterrence worked, and there is no full-scale war between India and Pakistan. But still, there is an anti-bomb lobby, not only in Pakistan but all over the world. How would you respond to them?
Let's go back to 1999, the Kargil crisis. And after the Kargil crisis, the Indians really got puffed up that we have upper hand in that, and we can do whatever we like. And they devised the Cold Start Doctrine. Cold Start Doctrine was raise 50 or 60 armored divisions, equip them with the latest conventional weapons, and whenever you want to punish Pakistan, just have a pincer movement, because our country has small width, it's long country.
Exactly.
So break into the middle and occupy a certain land mass, may divide the country into 1 or 2 segments and stay there and punish Pakistan like that. This was the Cold Start Doctrine, which they produced in 2008 and made it public.
True.
And they armored these divisions with Western weapons. And at that time, Pakistan very strongly protested. And you must remember that at that time, the economy of the West was in doldrums. There was a economic bubble. They were losing jobs. People were out of job in the defense industry in America and in Europe and everywhere. So there was a pressure on Europe to go and supply. They had a customer in India who were boasting of several $1 billion of foreign reserves. So they were willing to spend the money, and they were willing to sell the weapons. So the two got together to arm these 60 armored divisions for the Cold Start Doctrine. At that time, we protested to the West. We said, please don't do this, and this is going to upset the balance of power. We want to say living in peace, so don't do it. The answer we got was that this is your mutual problem, solve it yourself. So we said, okay. So then our defense ministry, defense industry, the defense people, the planners, they said, let's go for tactical weapons. Fortunately, by that time, we had developed our tactical weapons, and to the extent that we had our own reprocessing plant operational, and when you have the plutonium available, you can make very, very small nuclear warheads. Of course, the yield is still very, very high.
True.
They are lethal, absolutely lethal. But you can put them into a multi-barrel launcher and fire through like.
So that strategy worked.
Yeah, that's right. So we produced those weapons, and we code tested them, and they picked them, of course, in the satellites. And then the West, I got a phone call from the West, from a panel of experts over there, and they said, "Why have you done this?" I said, remember last year we told you not to sell them our local weapons, these conventional weapons. They said, but you are upsetting the whole thing again. I said, well, at that time you said solve your own problems, so we solved our problems.
Okay.
So this is it. You have to always stand on your own legs, and always, every time and again, our brain power, our intellect of the people is coming in to save the country.
When you were at the peak of your career as a nuclear scientist, and there were many efforts and there were many initiatives, taken by Pakistan to have good, normal working relationship with India. There were like confidence building measures, there were like series of composite dialogues, but all of them failed just because of India, stubbornness. Now, you think that once again, when the West and particularly America and some other brother-friendly country, they are asking two countries to resolve the court dispute. Are you optimistic this time things would be different or no?
Absolutely not. I'm not optimistic at all. Why should India listen to America or anybody else? They are so puffed up. They are so overconfident. We call overconfident fools. They are so overconfident and they have been given a shock. So at the moment they are rattled, they are unbalanced, and they are either they're angry or they're producing false, fake news, or they're sending out delegations to the West everywhere to spread false propaganda. They are shaken up at this time. But once they stabilize, and this shock is 3 months old or 2 months old, they will not listen to anybody. Look at Israel. The Security Council has passed resolutions. The West is France, Italy, everybody is condemning them. They don't listen. If the opponent is weak, they will. These people will.
So we have
keep going.
Exactly. We have established our military superiority over India. Do you think that this is the time that we should also work on establishing our economic superiority?
Economic superiority is absolutely vital, because without that, you can't have military superiority. We have been very lucky that we were able to induct weapons from abroad, from our friends, at a low cost or on very soft terms. We were lucky to build our own indigenous J-17s and back them up. We were also, I should tell you that all the Mirages that we have, and we bought lots of other Mirages which were sold off by other air forces of the world who didn't need them. We have upgraded them ourselves indigenously, and they are very fine fighting aircraft now. So we have got plenty of air power, and we were the plans for making more like this of the Khan, the Turkish Joint Pakistan program for fifth generation airplanes. These programs are all in the offing, and they will be there. But the point is that the psyche of the government in next doors, this is our bad luck. You can't choose your neighbors.
Of course.
But this is this present government, since this BJP has come in since 2002 or 2001, so on. Well, since late 90s, I think, yes. At 1998, they were also there when we did the atomic test.
Exactly.
So these people they have a doctrine called Hindutva, which means from the Indus to the Brahmaputra, the whole subcontinent is for the Hindus. It's not for Muslims, it's not for Christians, it's not for Buddhists, it's not for nobody else. So this is their doctrine, and Pakistan is a pain in their neck. But now there were more pains in the neck. Bangladesh, Nepal, and Sri Lanka, and so on. So and China, of course, has taken up Arunachal Pradesh. So they with the policies, they are alienating themselves. But our problem is to keep our defenses strong and to save us from this cancer which is next door. We don't want to get contaminated by these people.
Exactly. Lastly, sir, but we have seen a rare and a very good cooperation or a unity between the civilian and military leadership in Pakistan, and it paid off exactly.
Exactly.
How would you comment on this, and any thoughts on the elevation of Chief of Army Staff General Syed Asimuni to the portfolio of Field Marshal?
I was, I think, in my early 30s. I was in the Atomic Energy Center at Lahore. There was no Prince Tech at that time. There was nothing here, no infrastructure. And for a meeting I came to, I was called by the government to attend a meeting here, and I came to Rawalpindi Pearl Continental. Now this was 1967-68. And when I came there and I was going to enter the door, in the porch there was a huge limousine standing there, and on the number plate, on the plate there were 5 stars. I'd heard about 3 stars, Major Lieutenant General. I heard about 4 stars, the full general. I said, what's the 5th star for? And somebody told me Field Marshal Ayub Khan is inside the hotel.
Okay.
So I've seen the number plate at that time, and now I think that at that time we thought he is the president, he is the chief of army staff, so maybe he approved his own elevation. But this time, what has happened? As I told you, a new page in history, Pakistan's defense history has turned, and the confidence level that we have, I honestly feel we should have pressed on it a little more and taken Azad, like an Indian Kashmir. And there would have been no more water problem, and all the 6 rivers, at least to have taken the north part of the occupied Kashmir control, had taken full control of the rivers. So this was possible. I felt it was very really possible, and it's not possible even today. It is going to be more possible in the very near future, with the new strength that we are seeing in our armed forces. So I think the credit, of course, goes to the Chief of Army Staff. And whenever such a thing happens, a big success comes to the country and the government should have a large heart. It should honor the army chief, it should honor the air chief, it should honor all the service chiefs, it should honor all the people who fought the battles.
Of course.
And of course, at the moment I have not seen anything, but should first of all have honored the scientists who gave the weapons in the hands of
Of course.
Everyone. They should not be forgotten, because they are the people who are your silent heroes.
Unsung
They
heroes,
will unsung heroes. They are not unsung. You can see all the medals there. You can see.
But they are not on the forefront.
Nishane-e-imtiyaz is there. Everything is
Exactly.
there. But we all we want is not money. All we want is respect in the country.
Respect,
and if the scientists are given respect, that's enough. That's the
and that's why people really respect.
And they will
you
do
a
even
lot,
better
of course.
than we have been doing. So everybody should be honored for the work done. And I feel very, very happy that here is a young army chief who comes from a locality in Rawalpindi. I was born in Pindi, so I'm called a Pindi, right? But I spent my time sometimes in Lahore and then over here. So he is from Rawalpindi, and he has brought a good name to his family and to the city, and
now to the country.
And now to the country, and given it an international recognition in the field of defense. So this is a great honor for him and for the. But whenever the army is fighting, I've seen the 65 war. I've seen the World War II also. I was quite well aware of World War II. I was 3-4 years old, but I was very, very conscious. I remember everything. So I know that every time we had fought a war in 65, in 71, and now it is only when the soldier is fighting on the front, he is feeling warm and comfortable when the people behind him are supporting it. The civilians are maybe the songs of the Nur Jahan or poetry of Sufi Tabassum or whatever, or people going to the borders with food and trying to support the army. If you when you remember the hit Chaklala base, I switched on the TV at 2 in the morning, and the crowd of people, the whole Rawalpindi was there.
Exactly.
They were not afraid of the bombing or the missiles coming from.
And that is the spirit.
Yeah, that's the spirit. The spirit of the people of Pakistan. If this is combined, gelled together, and or behind our forces, the forces, they can do wonders.
They can do wonders. Thank you so much, Dr. Samar Mubarakmand, for your valuable time, and thank you very much, viewers, for watching the program. Good night and Khuda Hafiz.